All right, guys, so today we're going to be checking out the Meza Audio 109 Pro. And today's video kind of starts something that I want to do a little bit more in 2024, and that's really start to sprinkle in a little bit more higher end gear like audiophile type headphones and DACs and amps. It's something that I have a lot of interest in, and it kind of fits the channel anyway because I mainly focus on audio products, but I want to start talking a little bit more about these. Now, Meza Audio is responsible for the 99 Classics, which I reviewed a few years ago. And I honestly felt that the build quality and the design was something that definitely stood out. And you can tell that they actually spent a lot of time in the tuning of those. It didn't have like this generic sound to it. It had a full-bodied sound. It was a closed-backed headphone. And just, again, the design, because it used real wood, it just had this very comfortable feel to it. So when I saw that they had the 109 Pro, which is the pair that we're going to talk about today, it is a much more expensive pair. It does come in at $799, so it's not cheap by any means, unless you really want to start to compare it to a lot of the other audiophile headphones. Then it becomes maybe even a bargain. So we'll talk about that. We're going to talk about what all comes inside the box, talk about the design and the build of these and the sound, and see if it may be worth that $799 price tag. So to start with, the 109 Pro is an open back pair of headphones. It still has Meza Audio's basically, unique look to it. It has a real wood finish on the ear cups. The inside where you can actually see the drivers, everything just has this really classy look. It's trimmed in, I don't want to say gold because it has a little bit more of a muted feel than that. The headband on this is the self-adjusting headband, so you just put it on your head and it will just kind of fall into place and then basically fit your head perfectly. The ear cups on these is a velour ear pad. This is very, very soft. It's an extremely comfortable, if not like the most comfortable pair of headphones that I've tested. And I've really been using these, outside of music and, gaming and things like that. I've been using it to edit my videos. And the plus about this, it means that I can sit there for a long period of time and they don't get uncomfortable. The ear pads do not get hot because that velour ear pads basically kind of leaves it having a little bit more breathability. And same thing with the open back. It's something you can wear for a long period of time. Now, if you're not familiar with open back headphones, the one thing that I do want to point out about these is it does leak a lot of sound. That's just by design. Anything that's an open back pair of headphones, it means that anything that you're going to listen to, basically anybody around you is going to hear everything that you're listening to. It's not trying to keep that sound in, and by design, it's allowing these to have a much more open sound. It sounds more natural. It's supposed to kind of feel like you're in the environment instead of feeling like you're a little more isolated from everything else. But we'll talk about that once we get to the actual sound. Now, as far as the drivers, they are using dual composite dynamic drivers. I feel like these are very powerful. It does kind of have a unique sound signature for an open back pair of headphones, which we'll talk about. And then as far as what you get inside the box, and I do want to say that the basically like unboxing of these, it's a nice experience. They again put a lot of time into this. The hard case is a very nice custom zippered hard case. You can tell it's made, specifically for these, because I've bought some expensive headphones in the past and they do come with hard cases, but you can tell usually they're like a generic hard case. But you can see that these are made specifically for these. It comes with two different cables. It comes basically like a short cable and then a longer cable if you're going to use it like in a mixing environment or, like at my desktop where maybe my desktop might not be right there where I'm going to be sitting. Now, both of these do plug into the left and the right ear cups on the headphones. And then it is just a normal 3.5mm plug-in, plugging it into whatever device you're going to be using. Now, they do include a 1/4-inch adapter if you're going to use it on an amp or maybe even a receiver or something that has that type of connection. And then it also comes with a little pouch to kind of house the cables in that 1/4-inch adapter. And again, it's a nice pouch. So the accessories on these are extremely nice. Now, if you're looking at these and you're wondering if you're going to need an amp, I will say if you're just worried about volume level, I would say no, because the impedance level on these sits at 40 ohms. It's really easy to drive and get volume out of, but just like other headphones or IEM videos that I do, if you're really wanting to get the most out of your investment, if you're spending this much on a pair of headphones, I just recommend using an amp so that you can really get more out of the low end and get more out of your mids and out of the treble. Now I just use a Moondrop Moonriver 2 Ti. It's not an expensive amp. In fact, it's very small, it's very portable. And I use this because it's easy to, plug into my phone if I want to use it. And then, you plug it into my desktop and use it. Now, I do have a bigger amp at my desktop, but again, I just find that little Moonriver, it's just pretty convenient. Now, the frequency response on these range from 5 hertz all the way to 30 kilohertz. And it does have a pretty wide spectrum as far as the range that it's picking up. And really, we should just go ahead and jump into the sound. There's no mics to talk about. There's no features like we normally talk about with Bluetooth headphones or earbuds. And the sound on these was very different for an open back pair of headphones. It has a lot of characteristics of a closed back headphone. It's pretty punchy in the low end, which I normally don't get with open back headphones. The bass has a pretty aggressive punch, but it is still really tight and controlled. It doesn't allow it to get sloppy. It definitely does not come in and roll over the mids and the highs, but you can tell that they did not want to hold back when it came to the low end. Now, where I feel like these really shine and where they really stand out are the mids. The mids are slightly warm. It does have a very natural sound to them. It doesn't sound like they're trying to push the vocalist too forward, but it definitely doesn't sound like it's recessed or pushed back or gets lost in the mix. And that doesn't matter if it's male or female vocalists. I felt like both stood out really nicely. Acoustic instruments have this really nice tone to them. You can hear the strumming of the guitar. There's really just a lot of detail in this headphone. And then kind of the same thing with the treble. The treble has a nice sparkle to it, but it kind of shies away from being too bright or too harsh. And I think, again, just kind of blends well with everything else. I don't feel like there's one thing that's trying to do too much over the other. And again, the bass that these have is what makes these stand out compared to other open back headphones. It's one of the best, if not the best, when it comes to bass on a pair of open back. So if you're a bass head and you're kind of getting into audiophile gear and you're kind of worried about having something that might have a neutral sound or something that might sound flat, that is where I definitely recommend these. And another thing that was interesting, and I think it's because of the tuning of these, is the sound stage and the sound imaging. If I were to look at these as a closed back pair of headphones, which they're not, it would be the most open sounding closed back pair of headphones that I've ever heard. But if I were to look at these as an open back pair of headphones, which they are, it's not the best when it comes to the sound stage and the sound imaging. It's not as open as some other ones that I've tested, but it kind of just falls right there in the middle. But the trade-off here is you're getting better low end, you're getting a little bit more isolation than you do with other open backs, but still getting the characteristics of open backs when it comes to the way that they sound. It's a very interesting pair of headphones, and it's a pair of headphones that I have found myself using pretty much nonstop over the past month. I've been addicted to them, not just because I edit with them. This is an excellent pair for music and for gaming. If you're gonna use these for gaming, the detail and the natural sound that they have just kind of fits in perfectly. And having that little bit added punch in the low end means the explosions and gunshots and things sound a little bit more lively. And that plays well if you're gonna use these for watching movies. So this really is a do-it-all type of headphone, again, because I'm also able to use it for my editing where I'm sitting there for hours a day editing my videos. So my overall opinion on these is this is for audiophiles that still really like that Harman curve or that sound signature that's going to appeal to the masses. If you want that type of sound signature, but you want a little bit more openness in your sound, that is what these are. And this is also for bass heads that are wanting to get into audiophile gear, or bass heads that are already audiophiles and just want a little bit more than what they're getting with their normal audiophile style headphones. I've tested and I've reviewed so many different headphones that I've noticed whenever it comes to audiophile stuff, in my opinion, it always just kind of feels like it's lacking in the low end. And I don't know if it's because I'm used to so many just consumer grade products that I test, but I'm a bass head and there's no getting around that. I think that just always adds a whole different element to listening to your music. It just gives it a live feel. Like if you're in a concert, you're gonna feel the drums. You're gonna be able to feel those bass notes, you know, from the bass guitar. And there's a lot of audiophile headphones where I can hear it, but I'm not feeling it. And I feel like that's what they've done with these, is tuned them in a way where you basically can get a little bit more feeling out of the low end, and it's enjoyable for me. And I think it's going to appeal to a lot more people than just normal audiophile headphones. And again, the look, the design, the build quality, it's just a standout pair of headphones. But guys, that wraps up my video on the Meza Audio 109 Pros. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Thank you so much for checking out all the other videos. And as always, make sure to stay tuned for more.